High on top of the hills of Yokohama, Kingo Gondo is conducting business. He has a secret plan to risk everything he owns in order to gain control of the company he has worked for his entire life. What he doesn't know is that at the same time, someone else has a plan against him. Learning who it is and why they would do this will take all the efforts of Gondo, his household, and the local detectives to uncover. What do we owe one another? And who ends up high and low?
Welcome to Movie Friends. My name is Seth.
And I'm Michelle.
Today we're talking about High and Low from 1963. Directed by Akira Kurosawa. Written by Ryuzo Fukushima, Eijiro Hisiata, Hideo Ogoni, Akira Kurosawa, based on the novel by Evan Hunter. Cinematography by Asakazu Nakai and Takao Saito. Composed by Masaru Sato. Edited by Akira Kurosawa. Costume design by Mayuki Suzuki. Starring Toshiro Mifune, Tetsuya Nakadai, Kyoko Kagawa, Yutaka Sada, and Tsutomu Yamazaki. Michelle, how are you?
Hello, Seth. How's it going over there? Your mouthful. You did a great job.
It's going good. I apologize to the people of Japan.
Yes, but A for effort.
Yes, thank you. You're back?
You're
You're back
welcome.
from vacation?
I am back from vacation. Yeah.
How'd it go?
It went.
Okay. Okay.
No. In all seriousness, it was good. It was really good to disconnect for a week and not have service.
Yeah.
Anthony bought the Wi-Fi package so we can keep touch with family at home, but I was like, nope, I don't want to see any notifications, nothing. So it was good. I liked that. That was like I came home and I felt like rejuvenated from that.
Good.
So
Good.
yeah, that was good. And I made a list of takeaways in my phone of what I learned about myself.
Whoa. A
Yeah.
vacation of self-discovery. It's like Eat, Pray, Love.
Right. Only on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was your week?
Well, I was like feeling a big Michelle hole in my life.
Yeah.
I was like, wow,
Yeah.
something would happen.
This is
I'd be
weird.
like, let me go to text Michelle. Or like, oh, something funny. Let me text it to Michelle and Krista. And I was like, oh, I can't. Okay.
You should have wrote me a sentence a day. That's what Krista did. Krista wrote me a sentence of her life each day and then presented me with 8 sentences.
Well, that's because Krista's a good friend.
Well, I also challenged her. She's like, what am I going to do? I was like, haha, you should write me a sentence a day. And she was like, maybe I will do that.
Okay.
I was like, wow,
right.
she did it.
But yeah, other than that, it was pretty normal. Just a normal week.
Yeah, I know. It was only a week, right? So not too long.
Yeah. Because you were gone, though, we did record like really out of whack. Our schedule was all weird. So because of that, we have a few emails that are also pretty far in the past. We're reaching back in time right now.
Wow. Going back to February, huh? Or January, maybe?
I think mostly February.
Okay.
The first one is in response to our discussion on milk drinking.
Oh, man.
Which got such a big
this?
response from people. People really have feelings about this.
They really do. They are passionate about it.
Yeah. So this email says, Michelle, you eat a piece of chocolate cake and don't want a cold glass of plant-based milk to wash it down? What do you drink with sweet things? Hawaiian punch? Grapefruit seltzer? Water? Alcohol? I need to know. You've heard of milk and cookies, right? Inquiring minds want to know.
I feel attacked right now.
I know.
It depends on the dessert. I like coffee and dessert. I like decaf coffee and dessert. I like hot tea and dessert, or sometimes just water. But like, I'm never wanting a cold glass of plant-based milk with my dessert. On the way of talking about milk, I'm very conscious of the way I've said it because I've been called out that I say it weird.
Milk?
Yeah.
What do you say? Milk?
I say Apparently I was saying milk, but now I know to say milk.
Okay. I think some
Yeah.
people say milk. That's okay. We get it.
I think I was saying that. And then Liz was like, you say that weird. And I was like, well, now I do.
Oh
Same thing.
no.
Same thing with pillow. I was saying pillow.
Pillow?
Anyway.
I haven't heard that
Yeah.
one, but
Yeah.
so
Well,
that email's from Elizabeth. Thanks, Elizabeth.
oh, wow. Hey, I hope you're doing well, friend.
We have another email, and this is about our episode on Set It Off.
What a goodie that
I
movie
know.
was.
Good movie, right?
It really was. I was surprised.
This person says, "Can I have half a hot dog, please?"
Oh, God.
Little Women comparison is spot on. I
Thank
should have
you.
been on I'm a wig scientist. I don't know what that means. I'm not normally a Queen Latifah fan, but this is her apex in my opinion, which I don't know. Last Holiday is pretty universally loved, so I think I need to revisit Last Holiday. And honestly, if we do Christmas movies again, um, which I don't even know that that's a Christmas movie. I think she just goes skiing. I think it's just a winter
We
movie.
should, well, now we should do movies with the word holiday in it. Last holiday,
Hmm.
the
Got it.
holiday.
Got it. Okay. It's a good
I'm sure
idea.
there's others. Yeah.
Holiday Inn? That's a
I'm
hotel.
sure. Yeah. That is a hotel chain, but I'm sure there's a movie of some sorts.
They say, I had a pager and a sidekick.
Whoa. I wanted a sidekick so bad.
P.S. The Kermit voice should be a regular bit. P.S.S. I'm here for gun talk. Oh my.
Oh, God.
And then P.S.S.S. I'm happy to see this movie be amplified. And
Nice.
I agree. I agree. I'm shouting it from the rooftops, folks. Still,
That's right.
if you
That's
haven't
right.
seen Set It Off, you got to check it out, man.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth it. Who is this from?
This is
Whose
from
email?
Ben.
Thank you, Ben. A wig scientist.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben.
Noted. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ben.
Uh,
So we're trooping through mystery movies.
Here we go.
Maybe.
Magnifying glass and all.
Yep. Before Michelle watches a film for the first time, she records her pre watch thoughts. This time, we're getting her mid watch thoughts, or as I'm going to call them, her Mitch watch thoughts. So let's listen to that real quick.
Okay, so because I'm returning to life after being on vacation, I totally forgot to do my pre watch thoughts. However, I started this movie while on the treadmill and I'm about halfway through. So I watched the first half on the treadmill. I'm going to finish the second half now. And right now, we're in the middle, and I'm waiting to see if Gondo is going to pay for the other child, Shinichi. Shinichi. I'm also curious, like, does this? We've only changed locations once to see the police come up and for the boys to play outside, but for the most part, we've been in the same location the entire time. So it's very much what I'm fixated on, and I'm very interested in the choice of shots that are being used.
Okay, treadmill?
Yeah, treadmill.
Do you have a
And my
treadmill?
oh, I do. It was my sister's old treadmill, and my mom
Oh,
was like, "Get it out of the house. It's taking up too much space." And we're like, "Oh, we'll take it. It's free."
have you ever thought about the word treadmill?
Well, now I am.
Like,
Yes.
if you break it down, it's a
Yeah.
mill that makes treads.
And like you're almost treading yourself.
Yeah. It's a real
It
kind of
is weird.
depressing word when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Treadmill.
Stepmaker maybe would be a better one.
Or maybe, I mean, and then you can get a walking pad. A lot of people have
The
those
heck
now.
is that?
It's literally like a smaller treadmill.
Okay.
It just goes on.
Oh, is there no like mechanical, like you have to make the rollers move?
No, it's mechanical,
Oh.
but it's just smaller. It's good for like small spaces. You usually don't run on them, you just walk.
Oh. Isn't that
and
what
they're
the
called.
ground is for?
Well, yeah, but moves under you, a walking pad.
Kind of like the ground
I almost
when you
got
walk.
one.
I've never been walking and suddenly my foot stopped. Like, oh no.
It's like a treadmill. It works the same without it being so large.
Okay. All right. So we caught you
Anyway,
halfway through.
yeah, because I forgot to do my pre-watch thought. I was like, okay, so let me explain to you. I watched this movie in 3 parts.
Wow. Okay.
So Monday night, I was like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Aunt went to racquetball. I went on the treadmill. I was like, yes, yes. Because being on a cruise ship, that's all you do is walk and take steps. Like Aunt and I were like, no elevators.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me keep up. I have this energy. And then I get, in 45 minutes, an hour in, I was like, oh no, I forgot to do my pre watch thoughts. I stopped there and then picked up in the morning, yesterday morning.
Mm.
Yeah. And then picked up again yesterday afternoon. So, yeah, this was a wild one to watch in 3 parts.
So I don't want to say, how did you feel about the movie? Because
Yeah,
that's a big question.
huge question.
Yeah. Last
Okay, well, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
last week I had said this movie is the number 6 highest rated narrative film on Letterboxd. I went through all of these accolades and you were like, don't. And I was like, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. I never do that on the show. But since we recorded that, High and Low has been dethroned and has moved to the number 7 position due to Dune 2,
Oh,
which has
the
now
movie with all the sand.
which has now moved to the number 6 spot. What are the chances of that? What I mean, uh, my head has been like blowing up with this thought.
Oh
And I,
my
I haven't said it to you
gosh.
because I wanted to say it on the episode, but like
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
never mention stuff like this. I bring it up. I'm so proud. I'm like, we're doing Kurosawa. He's incredible. It's important. Blah 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 blah. And then by the time we get to recording, it's like, boop, move down a spot.
I feel like, and not in the same vein, but this keeps happening to us.
I
We
know.
will talk about a movie and then it's like all again in the spotlight. Shrek 2 is coming back to theaters, right?
Shrek 2 is coming back to
For the
theaters.
20th anniversary.
When we did Thelma and Louise, it was announced like the day that it came out that they were finally doing a Criterion release. The day that I did an interview with the director and we talked about Pee Wee's Big Adventure, the day that episode came out, Paul Rubens died.
And what about Josie and the
Josie
Pussycats?
and the Pussycats. We put that episode out. Boom, it goes on the
Whoa.
Criterion channel.
I mean, this is a little different, but still,
No,
like, it's weird.
it's different, but it's still
It's
really weird.
weird.
Really weird. Not just that we're doing this movie, and
Yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah.
also announced that Spike Lee is remaking
Yes,
High and Low.
I was going to ask you about this
Yeah.
and what that's all about
Yeah. Well, we'll
and how
see.
you feel about that. Like, what, first off, I mean, who cares how I feel about this movie? Why did you pick this movie? Why is it important that we did it? Out of all the mystery, and we were talking about, like, what's a mystery? What's this?
Right.
What's that? Right? Why this one?
Is High and Low a mystery?
Yeah.
For at least part of it, I think it is.
Right. And then you mean
Good.
the first movie, because this movie is 2 movies.
Right. Right. I think that
Mhm.
for the first part, you're wondering who did this. Then you
Yeah.
find out who did it, and then you're wondering why
Why?
did this
And then you
happen?
find out and you're like, really?
And then you find out,
Really?
and you're still like, what did I just see?
So why though, Seth? Why did you choose this?
I think it's great. As I mentioned last week, we're doing our first Hitchcock movie.
Yeah.
We're almost 100 episodes in, and it's like we're doing Hitchcock for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done Kurosawa, and his stuff is very important, like really, really important.
Yeah.
Along the lines of, Dune 2, people have been talking about how much of an inspiration Dune was to Star Wars, but Kurosawa's film, The Hidden Fortress, is episode 4, A New Hope. It's the same story. Like, you watch Hidden Fortress and you're like, oh my God, that's literally R2D2 and C3PO.
Wow.
Lucas was a huge Kurosawa fan. Like when he
Mhm.
started making films, he wanted to be a documentary filmmaker. Then he says, he started watching movies from around the world and like art house stuff, and just it totally changed his mind on everything. And Kurosawa was a huge, huge, huge influence. And not just George Lucas, who would go on to inspire an entire generation of filmmakers, but everyone has been inspired by Kurosawa and hold him to be like one of the grandfathers of modern filmmaking. A lot of
Okay.
what he's known for are like samurai films. So Seven Samurai, Rashomon, Yojimbo, Ran, Kagemusha. But he also has these like crime stories, and he also has these very sweet personal stories just about people. Like he didn't just do big samurai epics. And High and Low, I came to later after watching mostly the samurai stuff because that's what I knew. And it just totally blew me away. And I was like, this is probably his best movie, if you ask me. But
Have you seen all of them or most of his
no, I
stuff?
haven't seen all of his stuff. I started like a deep dive because I realized probably 14 of his movies are streaming right now that I haven't seen. So I'm slowly working my way through probably over the next month. Um,
Mm. Mhm.
but he has just a great eye and great way of telling stories. And even though he tells stories over, a myriad of genres, it's like each time I just feel very connected to whatever he's talking about and showing.
Mm.
So, so yeah, that's why. That's primarily why I picked this one. And I definitely felt like I was stretching the limit of mystery. But as we already
You
talked
think so?
about,
I don't know. I
I
think this fits
do.
nicely.
I
I
do.
do think it fits nicely.
Yeah, I think it fits. But as we've been talking about, I think that this whole month will be exploring the boundaries of what is a mystery movie. So,
Right. Right.
yeah, I'll allow it.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad you'll allow it.
Yeah. Like, again, I don't want to just say, what did you think of this movie? But I'm very, very curious.
Going right into it, I was hooked immediately
Yeah.
because it takes off, right? They're talking about well, first they're talking about like shoes. And I was like, okay, where are we going
Yes.
with this? Yes, we open with the shoe talk and negotiating a deal or what could have been, and then a boy gets kidnapped. And so you're like, wait, what? What's going on
Mm-hmm.
here, right? And I don't remember, but I said it. I think I said it in my pre-watch thought of like the first half is really taking place in the house, Gondo's house,
Yeah.
and so the blocking and the shots that are being used, it felt like a play to me. And these are
Yep.
choices that we're making. Once we get the kid back, which yay, thank goodness. And of course, there's a lot of moral dilemma going through this of oh, if I pay this money, it's a pride thing, but also I will lose everything.
Yeah.
It then just changes so much. We change the landscape and even the way we're storytelling. And it feels like a totally different movie to me. And I'm sure maybe that was done with intention. I was like, oh, this feels like an episode 2, a second movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I was still along for the ride, but I'm like, wow, we just watched like an hour and 15 minutes of, and I probably would have been okay with that.
Right. That ended there.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think that would have been okay. But we're talking about a different movie. And so watching the next part, I was like, all right, we're really just gonna go, we're really trying. We're gonna try and figure out why. And I don't know, and not to jump to the end, but like the payoff wasn't good for me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's
I
like,
actually rewound the ending because I wanted to
really?
make sure I actually, yes, comprehended this. And I was like, oh no, I did.
Right.
I did. We were just an angry person who was jealous. I mean, there's more to that, of course, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
The movie is definitely split. Like,
Yeah.
the English title of this is High and Low. The Japanese title of this is Tengoku to Jigoku, which is Heaven and
Hmm.
Hell.
Okay.
which is
Oh,
stronger,
yes.
stronger wording and stronger imagery
Yeah.
behind the split and the divide.
Yeah.
We start out in the high, up in heaven,
Mhm.
and then we go down into the depths. And in the end, it's like the two come together because you have, the victim and the perpetrator, face to face finally. And I don't know if you noticed, every time the camera switches between the two, the other's image is like imposed on the glass.
Oh,
So
yeah, I took a screenshot of it.
yeah, it's great.
I loved that.
It's so
It was great.
yeah, it's really, really cool.
It's really good. Yeah.
My first kind of overall point of the movie is kidnapping is horrible, terrifying, all of those things, right? And so pretty quickly we get onto Gondo's side, right? And like you were saying, there's all the shoe talk, which I want to talk about that. But Gondo is doing to the owner of the company what this guy is doing to Gondo. Like he has this plan that he's put into motion. Nobody knows about it. Like his wife doesn't even know about it. It's like a very hostile takeover, and he's going for everything that this guy has because he feels that they have, lost their way, and that he's going to guide them back to the way that things should be. He's going to like make things right. He's very moral, right? Like he doesn't want to make cardboard shoes.
Right.
And then boom, the kidnapping happens. And I'm not going to say that kidnapping is the same thing as, buying more stocks and taking over a company. Clearly, one is worse than the other. But it's crazy to me how similar and desperate both men are. And when we see
Yeah.
them at the end, it's very upsetting because, like you said, there's not like a good payoff. You don't feel, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth to say that like you, Michelle, wanted to like feel good. It's not like you're looking for like a happy ending, but this ending, it's one of my favorites ever because it just
See,
makes you feel horrible.
I didn't feel horrible and I didn't want happy ending. I wanted it to be more involved.
Mhm.
I wanted the guy uh to be somehow like connected with Gondo, to be
A
working for his.
reason, a purpose.
Yes, a
There's
reason, a
none.
purpose. There's
Yes,
none.
there's
And
none.
so
Yeah,
I was just like,
I love it.
I mean, I guess there's a beauty in that. That's great. I'm glad you love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, I rewound it and I was like, wait, am I understanding? And I did. And I was like, oh,
Hmm.
okay. Got it.
Yep.
Hmm.
It's in a way, it's inspiring to me to appreciate life because while I don't think that every poor person hates every rich person and is out to
Yeah.
get them,
Yeah. Yeah.
we search for meaning in everything. And sometimes it's not personal, it's just
Mm-hmm.
you're the target, you know? And sometimes things happen and you're like, why did this happen? This isn't fair. why
That's true.
why me? Why me? Why Gondo? Gondo, if we had like a picture of an ideal rich person, it would probably be him because he wasn't born into wealth. He has worked his way up in this shoe company. He has morals about what he wants shoes to be like, you know, and of everyone who's like on this board, he like works the factory. Like he like runs the show. Like he's still, you could say, like has his hand in things. He's not just like sitting around collecting money. And even this guy, just because he was there, because this is where his house was and he just happened to be in the sight of someone who is unstable and angry, that's
Yeah.
that's that's it. And I think that that's very true to life.
I mean, you'll have valid points.
Yeah.
You're very correct. You're very correct. It's just like after 2+ hours of watching all of this, I was like, we don't even know. Like when they sat down,
Yeah.
right, to talk, and he asks him, like, oh, what are you working on now?
Right.
Like, and so I was like, oh, and about, and they mentioned national shoes. And I was like, "Oh my god, so this guy actually knows him from something." Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, there is like a no.
Nope.
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 No.
Yeah.
Maybe I just have to sit with it for a little bit longer."
No, I think that's it. I think
Well, sit in the beauty of it
yeah.
that, you know.
And I mean it's terrifying when I mean I love that we're jumping straight to the end because the end is it's one of my favorite parts,
It's what
but
we've been waiting for.
I know. When the gate closes between them and he's just sitting there with his own reflection and
Yeah,
that's it. He
that's
gets
it.
nothing. He doesn't get his money back. He still loses everything. He's starting back at square one at a new company, and all he's left with is like his own reflection, and he doesn't
Mhm.
get solace for doing the right thing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that is also very true to life. Like we want to be rewarded, we want to be thanked, we want to be and the one thing that he gets is everyone in the news and like the community are now like he's a great guy.
He's a hero.
He's a hero. He did the right thing.
Yeah.
We love him. We hate
Yeah.
National Shoe now.
That's right.
Boycott National Shoe.
Those
So he gets
headlines.
that, but it's not what he wanted but hey, that's life, man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. It's one of those like I'm sure I could have been presented this lesson in another way.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we start out, now you knew like nothing about this, right?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I had never even heard of it. And then when I talked about it on the cruise, I was like, oh, this is what we're doing next. No one ever heard of it.
Yeah.
So completely, completely blind. And then what you said at the end of Rear Window, I totally forgot you said all that too. So
Which is funny because when we were recording that, you're like, "Don't say that, don't say that," and I
I
was
know.
like,
I
"You're
don't
gonna
know if I'm
forget."
kidding.
Yeah.
It's so true. Like as soon as we finish, I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we start off and we're talking about shoes, like, what are you thinking?
Oh, I'm thinking, okay, I know it's a mystery of some sort.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe there'd just be like something with money and shoes. And
Hmm.
I thought we were gonna go back to the shoes. I thought maybe we get some cool shoe design. Like I was waiting because I love shoes. So I was
Yeah.
really excited
Oh, do
about this.
you?
I love shoes.
Oh,
Yes. Yes, yes,
okay.
yes. Probably my favorite. Well, they're not an article of clothing. They'd be
I
like
think
an
they are.
accoutrement, an accessory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love shoes. My favorite, my favorite.
What's your
Anyway, so I
favorite
was really
like type of
excited.
shoe?
Oh, I love well, okay, so I don't wear leather.
Correct.
So that adds in a whole obstacle when finding shoes. But my favorite brands are Birdies and Allbirds.
Birdies and all birds?
Yeah, not related, just happen to have bird in the name.
Bird feet shoes?
They're not bird feet shoes, but they are good shoes. Like I love like a funky pattern flat. I love a mule. I like bright colors.
I don't know what a mule. What's a mule?
It's a slide with like a covering in the front. So like picture like a flat
Okay.
that comes more up on the foot, but no
Okay.
back. So you just slide your foot into it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I could have probably described that different. I like a
The
loafer.
the shoes that look like worms?
Excuse me?
The okay,
Shoes that
so a
work.
mule, like a lot of them, they're like brown and just like kind of rounded, and it looks like you're putting your foot into a worm
Yeah.
head.
Like a clog. That could be like a clog. Like a
Okay,
Birkenstock.
I
You
think I
think
was
of like
thinking
a
of a
Birkenstock?
clog,
Yeah, I like clogs
which
too,
is like
that are
so
flat.
such a funny
I know. Clog, clog, clog.
word. Because
Yeah.
the only other time we really talk about that is like a clogged toilet. It's like, oh my god, I love clogs. I love that clog.
Oh, wow. I never think of it like that. But I was actually shopping for clogs today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What? Okay, all right. So not
Yeah.
like you're not doing like boots
No.
or like
I
high
mean,
heels.
no, but I like the way they look.
Oh, okay,
Like if there's
interesting.
a funky shoe, I'm probably buying it. And I'll just like I love my shoes. Like even for the live show, you probably didn't notice, but I was wearing like blue velvet mules with like rhinestones all over them, like
Yes.
celestial. Yeah, like
Yeah.
those were birdies.
Okay, all right. So you just
Yeah,
want like a
yeah.
pop in your shoe, a pop to your
That's
outfit?
right. A pop to my outfit, it happens with the shoes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I may ask, and you don't need to answer,
Yeah.
how many pairs of shoes do you own?
Um, I don't know. I think actually Ant has more shoes than me.
Oh yeah, real shoe guy.
Yeah. I don't know if he's a shoe guy. He just has like different types. But
Hmm.
how many do you have? I have more than 5.
Oh, that's not a lot
Definitely.
at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's more than that, but
Oh,
I don't want to waste time and I don't want to
what,
waste time and count. I
what do you,
mean,
so is it like
because like
30? More than 5?
no, no, because then you have like sandals, and then you have winter boots,
That's what I mean. Yeah,
and I have booties,
booties.
and then I have like heels.
The heck is a booty?
Or as
Like a
my
baby
sister likes to
booty?
call, or as my sister likes to call them shooties, which I hate. She's like, it's a shoe boot. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Wow. Okay, I've never
A
heard of any
booty,
of
a
this.
short boot on you, like comes up to your ankle.
That's just a boot.
Like, well, no, because then you can go up to your knee,
Well,
knee high
that's a thigh
boots.
high. Or is that a thigh?
Well,
Or is there a knee
there
high and
are,
a
there
thigh
are,
high?
yes, there are, yes.
Ah, is there a waist high
Wow.
boot?
I mean, pants.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, I wanted to see some shoes.
Yeah. Yeah. The shoe stuff quickly disappears and never comes back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I did really like though his commitment.
He was very committed. Well, he wanted to do like a. I understood where he was coming from.
Yeah.
I was curious when the kidnapping call happens, right? I don't
Yeah.
know why you're laughing.
Well,
Probably
I haven't
worded that
thought on
weird.
it, but yeah.
Okay. Uh, and Gondo obviously is like, no question, I will pay the money.
Yeah.
Then it turns out, oh, June is fine.
Yes.
It's our chauffeur's kid.
Yes.
And then it's like this debate of we can't pay the money. And the wife, Gondo's wife, who it turns out there was a dowry signed. Yeah. And so she's like, oh, it's actually like my money. Like you don't have, yeah. Anyway, how are you handling that situation? I know how. I already know your answer, but I want you to talk it out with me.
It's amazing. I think it's like the moment of this movie.
Yeah.
We get the big shoe switcheroo, right? First we think, okay, what's going on? What's going on? Then we get the reveal, I'm taking over this company. Let's have a drink. And then it's, my son has been kidnapped. The reason I laughed is because I think this movie's great. Acting is great. Toshiro Mifune is like one of my favorite actors on the planet. I think that he is incredible. But when he picks up the phone and he's like, what? You kidnapped my son? I get it. Like, there's no other way of doing it at this point. You know,
Yeah.
like you'd have to have a voiceover. You'd have to cut to someone on the phone. Like,
right.
He needs to explain what's happening. But just that line is
makes you giggle.
Very, very, very funny. So then it's like, okay, now, it's a kidnapping story.
Yeah.
So you jump into, great, kidnapping story, got it. And then the kid walks in and you're just like, what is this? Oh my God. It's so good. It's such a good switch. I love it. I love it so much.
But if this is happening to you, are you going to pay for your chauffeur's son to be returned? Because there's this whole debate of like whether or not he's going to front the money.
Right.
Because it's not his kin.
Right. Yes. I mean, I'm going to say
because you don't want to get canceled.
Well, no, I mean, I have the money. He has 50 million and the guy's only asking for 30. So it's like, right. Hey man, I still got 20 million, left over here.
Right. Still good.
But I understand the pause because you just went in your mind and in your heart, you just went to this place.
Yeah.
And then the kid walks into the door and you immediately come back down. And I think he's like, what is going on? Right? Like, after his son
Mhm.
walks back in. Then to go back to that place so quickly of
Yeah.
like determination of like I'm gonna get my kid back. Wait, it's not my kid. Wait, also, how do I know what's happening? Because this all seems like the mystery is good because it makes you question, kind of like when we were talking about Get Out. You are with Chris saying, is this really happening? Am I sure? Like, I have this feeling. How does he know that the driver didn't orchestrate it? How does he know?
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
curious for you. Did you think that it was his business partners?
I did the
Yeah.
whole time. The whole time. And so then we got to the end, I thought maybe he was somehow um the guy who was doing everything. I thought he was involved with the
Yeah.
company somehow, or they hired him to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I really thought that's where we're going. So I guess in that way, I was surprised that he was a nobody,
Yeah.
because the other way, I guess, would have been predictable.
Yeah. And I think
And I guess
you're
that's
so
what I
set
wanted.
up, right?
Yeah,
Like
right.
Kurosawa is setting you up to have all these suspicions about everybody because it's so tense. I
Mhm.
love when they
Mhm.
go to the door and his wife comes downstairs and she's like, "Why is my husband not showing you to the door?" And they all just look so
Mhm.
ashamed.
Mhm.
But you know
Yeah.
that they're also still incredibly angry and they're vicious and he's
Yep.
trying to stand in the way of what they've been planning. Yeah, it's great. I love it. Love it so much. So yeah, I mean, I would give the money. Um, I would definitely take up the dad on his offer to work for me for the rest of his life. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be like, look,
Well,
dude, it's you and me. We're making shoes now because
how do you pay back, right?
yeah,
Like,
you can't. There's no way.
that's an internal struggle.
Yeah, and for Gondo, he's worked. What does he say? 32 years or something like that in the factory. He can't
Mhm.
start over.
Yeah.
Like he does start over, but how is he going to get back to where he is?
Right.
And I don't think that he does.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It would be like too convenient for it to be the business partners because they
I
just
know.
like they come there asking for his help, they leave, and it's like 5 minutes later that his kid is kidnapped. So it maybe would be
But it would make sense though at the same time, because the kidnapping has occurred, I'm like, Did these kids even go outside for that long? Like,
right,
you don't even see them leave. Like, not enough time has passed. So
right.
it's like they could have just snatched up as they were exiting.
It's crazy because Gondo's advice to his son is what makes the kidnapping happen in the first place. Because they're playing cowboys and Indians, and he says to
Yeah.
him, he's like, "Hey, you have to hide, and you have to wait, and then
Yes.
you have to
Yes.
ambush."
Right.
And
Right.
again, Gondo's a businessman, and but that's what he's doing in that moment
Yeah.
for,
Mm.
for the
Mm-hmm.
company. And what he doesn't realize is that him and this kidnapper, they are linked, like in their thinking, because that is exactly like as he's describing that to his son, that is what the kidnapper is doing in that moment. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Wow. Mm.
Yeah, like I said, kidnapping is worse, but it's 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 showing the
Yes.
similarities between them,
Yes. Yeah.
where if we looked at their positions in life, their attitudes, their morals, all those things, all you would see are differences. But the movie, I think the movie is first off a mystery, but it's really bringing them together. It's like showing how these two guys come together to make two sides of the same coin, which
Yeah.
is just a life. How'd you feel about the police, the detectives?
The one was so hot. So
Oh,
looking at him.
I thought you meant the bald guy who was always dabbing
Boston?
the sweat.
No,
Yeah,
not Boston.
I thought you meant temperature hot. Yeah,
Oh, well, he looked very, I mean, they all looked hot.
yeah.
It was midsummer, right?
Hmm.
Taking place. But the other one, I liked looking at him.
Okay. They felt kind of goofy, right?
They did. Yeah, it seemed sometimes like buddy cop-ish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that added like a weird element. And I was like, well, I mean, maybe this is just how it is. I don't, at this point, I don't, we're like two movies happening.
Yeah.
The storytelling's changing. I'm accepting all things being thrown at me.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
the main detective, when he comes into the house and he's explaining, this is what we're doing, this is who's doing what, he's like smiling with them. Like it's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
it's serious, but he's not like dour, you know, he's not like, oh, you know,
And so,
talking.
like, on that note, to piggyback off of that, I was also suspicious of him because I was like,
Oh,
maybe
interesting.
you're involved somehow because of his
Mm.
delivery in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, while you're very nice looking,
Yeah.
uh, I don't think I can trust you because you're not delivering this in a very genuine way
Yeah.
of concern.
Yeah.
But it's just how he was, I guess. Maybe it's like, oh, we deal with this all the time. I'm jaded.
So Kurosawa did not use color in his films until
Hmm.
1970. He goes all
Wow.
the way, yeah, all the way till then in his film Dodeska Den. And here in High and Low, we get the pink smoke. What did you? I'm very curious. Like, what did you
Yeah, that
think at
was
this
cool.
point?
I was excited to see that. I was like, wow, okay. It also reminded me of, and it has nothing to do with this choice in the film, but there was a time in high school where you just make all your photos black and white, but you would like
Yeah,
make one part of the photo like in color.
yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of high school. But the the deliberate use of the pink
Mm-hmm.
smoke, I was like, that is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tipping my hat to you.
Yeah, the bags that they deliver the money in are
Yeah.
laced
Hmm.
with a pill that will burn pink, and then another
Right.
one that will smell really bad if it gets wet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I was like, okay, are you just gonna have cops wandering around looking for this smell? That's that seems like an odd one. You're
Yeah.
praying at that point that he burns the bags. And I was like, okay, so if he buries it, does one pill turn into a tree and in 5 years you'll find it? Like,
Imagine.
but yeah, the pink
But I
smoke
thought that
thing,
was
it's
cool.
such an odd choice for this really grounded,
Yeah.
serious, kind of bleak movie. But I
But then
guess,
again, you accept it because at this point, well, for me, I'm just like, sure. This yep, let's add. What else are we adding into this second part of this movie? It's not what I thought it was.
right, right, right. See, I would look at that and say that is the mark of a master filmmaker, that they can put something in that's odd and surreal or strange or like
Mhm.
messes with the form a little bit, and you're still like,
Mhm.
okay.
Well, I mean, what you're saying, what I'm saying is, I think we're saying the same things.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying he's not a master full filmmaker. I
yeah.
was just at this point accepting and everything. I wasn't questioning anything at this point because I really thought it was going one way in the first half of the movie, and just the way we were being shown the story,
Yeah.
and then it just completely changed. Yeah,
So you mentioned the blocking in the first part. We're
yeah.
in this house. They're shooting on location outside of Yokohama. They had a miniature set built for the nights that
Mm,
had like lights and fake trains and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty cool.
that's cool. Yeah,
Everyone talks about the blocking in this movie and how great it looks. And I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get it. And then I watched like a 15-minute video on it for the website No Film School. And they really go into detail, and really looking at it, I was like, yeah, this is pretty incredible. They're using a crane very, very, very subtly. They're using a crane in some of the shots, and just how everyone is positioned, but still moving around. Like the shots, the camera isn't static. You know, we're not just
right.
setting up the camera and putting people in their spot and then, okay, don't move because this looks like a painting. They're moving around very passionately. You know, they'll be sitting down and
Yeah,
then just bolt up, you know, quickly move. The camera moves a little bit. You can still see everyone. It's great.
yeah.
It's amazing. Did you think that this was all going to be like one
Yes,
location?
yes. I thought maybe this was like a bottle
Mm-hmm.
type movie. Yeah, and also on the blocking, the playing of who's in the background, who's in the foreground, and
Mm-hmm.
who's talking is off to the side. Who we're listening to is not actually in the middle of the frame. And
Yeah.
so I mean, I enjoyed this. Like, I liked the first half of the film better
Yeah.
because I was more captivated with it. And
Yeah.
then once we know who it is, I'm like, now we're just waiting for him to be found.
Right. Right. How did you feel about the whole heroin and the addicts and buying the pure heroin and all that stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't really do much for me. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to lie to you. It's kind of, at this point, I'm sure you all know what I'm going to say. Let's speed it up.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Come
It's
on.
crazy because at one point the police are like, all right, we know who he is, but he's not going to get that long of a sentence. So let's wait for him to kill more people
Yeah.
and then we'll
Yeah.
get him.
Yeah. I mean, I did love the dance scene
Yeah.
and when he
Mm-hmm.
goes to the club and they're falling, like that whole sequence. I really liked watching that. But then I was like waiting. I was really waiting for like things to. I'm like, did we have to go into every meeting of when we found something?
Right.
No.
I did kind of like that. It was almost cartoony. Like you just have this big group of very sweaty men, and one would pop
Yes.
up and be like, "We
Yes.
found $1 used in this place." Da, 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 da. And then he'd sit down and then be like, "Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I did. I think on my rewatch,
Yeah.
because I know what's happening, I felt more how you felt this time
Mm.
around. Where the first time I'm watching it, I'm just so like, what is happening? Like, what
Yeah.
are we doing? I do love all the shots of Takuchi, who's the kidnapper, with his sunglasses.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
Yes.
it looks really
It's
cool. And so
yeah, it
for
looks
that, I
really
was like,
cool.
you know what? I'll watch this guy prowl around for a while. I get it. This is cool.
Yeah, I mean he looked great.
Yeah. How did you feel about the train scene?
This is another one that I paused and rewound.
Oh, okay.
So I watched it a couple of times
Wow.
because it was so fast moving because we're going
Yes.
from
Yes.
what we just were going through. We get and then we're in the one room in Gondo's house and it's like train.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're leaving this scene. And so this was so fast moving. This was intense. This
Yeah.
was really intense. I
Yeah.
actually really did like this. This kept me on the edge of my seat.
Yeah. The train part is awesome. I love how the cops
Yeah,
keep
it's really
giving this
good.
guy credit throughout the whole movie. They're like, he thought of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like very impressed. Very impressed.
Because he doesn't tell him anything. He's just like, get on this train with this money.
Right.
And by the way, the suitcase needs to be this big.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he really
And then when
did.
they get the note, it's like, boy is not on the train.
Yeah.
And so you're like, well, and then the whole like filming outside the train, and then we have
Mm-hmm.
to drop through the windows, and then we see the boy standing there because we have to make sure he's alive. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
this is very involved.
It's very involved. And it's like, it's always fun to see the police set something up and then be outsmarted.
Yeah.
You have
Oh, yes.
10 of them on this train thinking it's one thing, and then it's like
Yeah.
very, very simply, nope, it's actually not that at all. There's no way of catching
Yeah.
him because he didn't give them any prior notice. And like, you can't have a cop every 100 feet along the entire
Right.
path of the train. It's genius. Like, it's this part is like, as far as a movie that isn't an action movie, like you said, you're kind of like,
Right.
and then they're trying to put the thing, they're trying to like get the window down, and I'm like, dude, just like grab a hand, something, like rip the window off.
I
I'm
know.
like, even if they try to follow his orders, are they even going to be able to get it out of the window?
I know. It was stressful.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like you're having like a cup of coffee or maybe like a half calf, right? And you're like watching along and you're comfy, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, shot of espresso.
Yeah,
Because that's what that felt like. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
shot of espresso.
So I did want to ask you. I already mentioned he's one of my favorite actors, but Toshiro Mifune as this middle-aged guy. How did you feel about him throughout this movie?
I thought he did a great job. And, like we've discussed already, but watching him go through the struggles of internally of like what's to do, what's right,
Mm-hmm.
but also trying to stay with what not only what's right, but what he actually wants to do versus what he should do, and
Right.
then have the influence of his wife as well. I think he did a great job. I think everyone did a great job
Yeah.
in this movie,
Yeah.
honestly.
I love the relationship between him and his chauffeur.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
first of all, the chauffeur comes in because he's like, "Oh, I brought a little, it's like a little light jacket for or whatever for my
Mhm.
son as they're playing."
Mhm. Mhm.
And then he's just holding it for the next, 15 minutes. He's just like clutching it the whole time. It's
Mhm.
it's very relatable and scary as a parent. And then when we get to the part where he's begging him cuz he doesn't want to, it's like
I know.
he doesn't want to ask, and then he finally breaks down and he's like on his knees and he's like begging him, he's like bowing to him, and Gondo is like trying to move but like he's wrapped up in the curtains and he's just like struggling to like get away from him because the weight
Yeah.
of what he has to do is like too much for him in the like both of them are like collapsing in on themselves when
Yeah,
it's
right? Like,
like
how do you escape that? You can't
right,
escape it.
right.
Mhm.
And he's kind of been holding it together even though he's freaking out for sure. I mean, every time water is involved with this dude, he's like, "Grrr," like you know,
Oh my god, yeah.
yeah, yeah, very intense
The f
shower. After he throws the
Yeah.
money out of the window, he immediately goes to the sink and he's like splashing himself in the face.
Yeah.
And then when the chauffeur is like, you know what, you don't have to give the money. It's okay. They'll probably find him anyway. It's so devastating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to the ending, you said you rewound it.
Mhm.
The first time it ends, were you surprised that it ended there? Like, did you think that there would be another scene?
I didn't think there would be another scene. I just wanted to make sure that I understood it correctly,
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't miss anything in translation, that I fully understood the relationship between these two.
Yeah.
And so that's what made me rewind it and watch it again. And then when it ended, I was like, I'm not even kidding you. I watched it in my office,
Mm-hmm.
and when it ended for the second time, I like slammed down the cushion and I was like, "Really?" Yeah.
That's great. I
Yeah,
love
I'm
that. I
done.
love that. I think that that's the appropriate response. Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. When to Takuchi, I'm probably saying that right. It's probably Takechi. I don't know. Takeuchi.
Mm.
When
Mm.
the
Mhm.
kidnapper
Mhm.
starts shaking, do you believe him when he's saying it's
No.
just a symptom? Like, what do you? That
No.
whole thing, him breaking down. What are you feeling and thinking about that?
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, you're losing it. You're trying to keep cool here." He's like, "I'm not afraid of death." He's getting the death sentence. Like, "I'm walking in with this, no fear. Like,
Yeah.
I'm owning up to it." And then I think as we're talking it out and we're like laying it all out here, like the realization is setting in. And it's just like solidifying and verifying how much hatred he has for this guy,
Yeah.
for having the house that was, warm in the winter and cold in the summer.
Right. Right.
And so, yeah. But I still at the end was like, "Really?"
It's rough. It's rough. It's very
Yeah.
upsetting. You know,
It is upsetting. It is upsetting.
whenever you see a person who knows that they're going to die and they start to freak out, I think it's hard to not have a lot of sympathy for him,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is another interesting thing that Kurosawa kind of pulls off. Like, why have that scene? Why have it done that way?
Right.
to where we don't end with him. I mean, he is a villain. He's disturbed. He's a disturbed person. He's a frustrated person. He's an evil person. To kidnap a child is that's crazy. If you want to get
Yeah.
back to this guy, like
Yeah.
burn his house down or something. There's a lot
Right.
of other
Rob
things you could
him.
do.
Just rob him.
Rob him, kidnap him, whatever.
Yes.
Shoot him. Like,
Yes.
okay, fine.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
he takes like the most sinister route. Even though he doesn't hurt the kid. Like he does
No.
what he says he's going to do. Like he's explaining to him, I thought it was amusing to make you feel the way that I feel and that people, without control and without power
Mm-hmm.
feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even with knowing all of those things about him, we still end in a way that makes us feel for him. And even in captivity, he's still able to like freak us out like one more time. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're in such a small space too.
Yes. Yeah. So the actor, when he grabs the cage, because of the lights on set, he burned his hands. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that just adds a level to it.
I know. I know.
When I watched that final scene, and you can leave this in or take it out, Soli was moaning in the other room. So this was like, I will never forget this movie, which is like, I have to laugh about it. I have to laugh about it because how else would you get through it? You
Right.
have to laugh about it.
Right.
There was a line that made me laugh, and I wrote it down. Doctors don't call people pops. It was when the detectives were trying to like
Right.
figure out who was who.
Right.
It can't be him. Doctors don't call people pops.
Right. But he was a medical intern.
Right. Right.
That was also kind of, I think, something that's missing for me, not knowing what society is in like 1960s Japan.
Yes.
Because like he's a
Yes.
medical intern and he lives in a shack essentially.
Right. And he's smart. He's very smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't really I don't know. I didn't really
So is
understand
it
that.
just
I
that
feel like I
like
needed more.
everyone who doesn't have a lot of money, like that this is just the type of homes that like everyone lives in unless you have money, you know?
Right. Right.
Because for us here in America, if someone was living in that, which it's like a tin shack basically,
Yeah.
you're probably not a medical intern at that point. I mean, not to say that people who are going through medical school or going through college have money. They
Right.
probably don't, but that was kind of surprising.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
Hey, if you're ever calling the cops, throw in some slang that you wouldn't use so that they don't think it's you.
That's right. That's right.
Michelle would never say doohickey.
Doohickey.
I've thought about that a lot. Like if I ever have to write a note, you got to write it with your left hand.
Yeah, right?
You got to
Do you
like
ever
pretend.
practice with your left hand just in case you lose your right?
Mm, not writing, but yes, there have been
Yeah.
times where if I'm, cooking, I'll try doing stuff with my
Yeah.
left hand.
Mhm.
I'm a big fan
Mhm.
of cooking blindfolded.
It's so interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. In my restaurant, I've made a pizza start to finish completely blind, which putting in a pizza into the oven is very scary blindfolded. And then I made a chicken marsala dinner start to finish completely blindfolded with the gas stove, turning on the stove
My
and cooking
God.
everything with the flames. And that was very nerve wracking. And then something that I'll do when I'm training somebody is I'll cut an onion completely blindfolded.
I want to witness this.
Oh, yeah. I had sent you and Krista a video of me cutting a tomato blindfolded,
Yes, you
and
did.
I pretended to cut my finger, and then I
Yes.
stopped the video right there and sent it to you.
Yes, I know. I do remember that.
Did that make you jump?
But I was just like, why? What? Again, Seth will just send things, no context. And you'll just be watching. You're like, oh, Did Seth just lose his finger?
I should do that. I should post on the Instagram, Movie Friends
On
Instagram.
the Instagram. You
Yeah,
should do that. It could
on
be
the
a
Insta.
segment,
Yeah,
you know, the not
blindfolded
so
Seth.
blind chef.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I can do it.
I think that would be fun. What
Yeah.
should Seth make today?
Blindfolded.
Blindfolded.
Sure. Send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, let's do it.
What do you want to see me make blindfolded?
I'll have to submit something.
Sure.
We
Peanut
could
butter
submit...
banana sandwich. Easy.
No.
Okay.
I'm not submitting that. No.
High and Low was made for $1.5 million.
Wow.
Goes on to make over 3 in its initial run. So doubles its money. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Has a 96 on Rotten Tomatoes, 90 on Metacritic, 4.6 on Letterboxd, which, as I said, is just about as high as you can possibly get. And it was the number 6 narrative rated film, and it is now 7 because of Dune 2.
Oh, Dune 2.
Shout out to our Dune 2 episode. Just put that out last week. People have Dune 2 fever.
Dune 2. Is that what it's actually called? Dune 2?
Dune Part 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have like Dune Part 2, the blah, 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 blah.
No. No.
You know how that's usually how it goes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, they split up the book into Part 1 and Part 2.
Got it. Are there more Dunes coming?
Probably. Yeah. Probably at least one more. After this next part of the story, it gets crazy, weird sci-fi stuff. So they probably won't continue. But
I don't even know. I know you covered it. Are you a Dune guy? Are you a Dune cake?
I'm a Dune buggy.
You're a Dune buggy, a Dune cake?
Yeah. The book is great. I mean, it's top-notch sci-fi.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that it's better than High and Low. I wouldn't say it's the 6th greatest movie.
Good thing I didn't ask you that. So,
yeah. But no, it's good.
About that.
It's good. It's good. More sci-fi movies.
Mm-hmm.
We should be getting way more sci-fi movies. So anytime we get one,
you're there.
Yeah. So this is part of the Criterion Collection. Roger Ebert never reviewed this movie.
Why not?
It's unclear. He loved Kurosawa, loved his other stuff, and for some reason, this one just escaped him.
Well, that's odd.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but I mean, it's like, there's a ton of movies, so it's hard. This came out, I think, before he would have been writing regularly, but he would go back and review old stuff all the time.
Right.
So I was really surprised to see that this was not one that he reviewed.
Interesting.
But I would like to believe that he would have loved it.
Mm-hmm.
We have a segment of the show where we talk about what we would cut, what we would edit, and what we would keep. It's called What the Keck. So, Michelle, do you want me to go first? Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so I'm keeping the whole train sequence because I thought that was great. Loved everything about that. I'm going to take out, there were some scenes of just in the car, of just getting from point A to point B that I don't think was necessary. And it was just like the detectives driving around.
Yeah.
It was, and I should have wrote down the timestamp, but there was one where I'm like, okay, so nothing actually happened here. We're just showing them driving. We could take that out.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to edit down some of the scenes where all the detectives are gathering.
Yeah.
And I mean, all of them I'm trimming. I think we can make this movie a little bit shorter and still have it provide the punch.
Got it. I feel the same way. I would cut the whole part where we're at the guy who burns garbage.
Oh my God, I forgot about him.
Yeah. The detectives are like, whoa, what did the guy look like? He's like, he dropped off a box. It's like, okay,
yeah, good point. That's a great scene to cut.
Figured out that, because we already know, like, the pink smoke is going. We already kind of know.
We know, yeah.
That could have been, another guy standing up in the meeting saying, I went to the trash burner and this is what he said. Boom.
Right.
Dunzo.
Good. I like that. That's really good.
For editing, I would probably the part where they're bringing the kid around the neighborhood and he's like, I
With
peed over there.
I
I
know.
thought that was like, that part was funny, but I think some of that stuff. And then, like we already mentioned, when he's prowling through buying the heroin, going through that whole process, I think that can come down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then keep, I want more, honestly, like it sounds really silly, but the pink smoke thing is such an interesting part. I would have loved to have seen that from multiple perspectives. Like,
Oh,
we see it from the
okay.
house, but let's see it from the people who live down in Yokohama. Let's
Yeah.
see it
Ooh.
from the kidnapper's perspective too. Like, maybe
Oh, that's a
that's when
good
we
one.
see
That's
him
really
for the
good.
first time. As he's walking away, he turns back and sees that
Yeah.
something, because it's
I
just,
would have.
it's so
Yeah. Hmm.
weird. It's so freaking weird to put
It.
pink smoke in your black and white movie. I would have liked a little bit more of it because it's cool.
Yeah, I would have definitely liked that over of than garbage guy. Like, let's get more perspective of pink smoke
Yeah.
and get rid of. Yeah, that was good. That's really good.
So we asked some friends on Twitter what they thought. Walrus party version at Moocher Walrus.
Oh my goodness! Wow! 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 That's great.
Yeah, so not just plain walrus,
Party
party version.
version.
Yep. They say a masterpiece. Kurosawa delivers a masterclass on how to frame, block, and shoot a movie. Mifune unsurprisingly delivers an excellent performance. Francis Ford Copium at Clerk the Kid, and Kid has a 1 instead of an I, says,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is Mifune's best performance by far. The ending has stuck in my mind since watching it. I was so stressed I couldn't breathe. It is truly a
Wow.
special film.
Wow. Clerky's got some thoughts.
Felicia at Cinemaroni, she says, Kurosawa noirs are some of my favorite noirs. And Felicia is the
Mm.
queen of noir, so
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
it
Absolutely.
means a lot.
Yeah.
The sense of dread that he's able to build within this film is amazing, and I envy anyone who is watching this for the first time. Wow, Michelle, Felicia envies you.
Mm. Not after this episode. She's like, no, I'm good.
Elizabeth at BLK Girl Online, so I'm going to assume that's Black Girl Online,
I think so, yeah.
says, amazing. I didn't know film blocking and composition could be this expressive when it's just a bunch of
Mm.
guys in suits standing in a living room until I watched this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, Elizabeth. Yo Jimbo at Yo Jimbo 21CA.
Yo, Jimbo.
Yeah.
That's fun. That is fun.
Says arguably Kurosawa's greatest film. I say arguably because whichever of his films I've watched most recently, it becomes his best.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'll say that, but I will say everyone that I watch, I'm like, my goodness, this guy can do it all.
Like, why wasn't I shown this in film school?
I'm not sure. There's a lot of films of his that could be shown in film school, definitely.
And I mean, maybe I just didn't take that class.
It's possible.
There's multiple film classes, so maybe I just didn't
I feel
take the one
like
on this.
if you were to really think about it, it'd probably be like Seven Samurai because it's like huge, right?
Yeah.
But Rashomon, in terms of like film, that
Mm-hmm.
is the probably like most influential one. That's the one that tells one story from 3 perspectives. And so
Hmm.
each time little things are changing, Rashomon has become an adjective. So we
Hmm.
say like, oh, it's
Okay.
a Rashomon type story. That's how influential that movie is. So I'm pretty surprised that wouldn't be. I
I
would be
mean,
horrible,
maybe I
dude.
would.
If I had to teach a film class and it was like, hey, pick 10 movies to show people, I have no idea what I'd do. I'd be
Well,
paralyzed. Choice
usually
paralysis.
there's kind of like a a curriculum, and like I took controversial film, so we did controversial films. Um, and then I did like film editing, film 101. So I probably didn't take deep enough for this to go in.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like Rashomon would be
I
what
wonder,
that's
can
a
you imagine
101. That's a 101,
if I
man.
would have watched one of these? But I feel, I'm pretty good. Like I could be like, oh, I remember the name. I just don't remember the story.
Yeah.
But I don't even remember. So
Yeah.
I feel like this was film class.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, you just, educating me every week.
Oh, you mean the show?
Yeah, this
Oh,
episode.
oh, oh, I thought you meant this movie.
Well, yes, this movie
Yeah.
for sure, but this episode as well.
So those are some friends that we do know. Now we go to a segment of the show where we hear from people that we don't know. It's called half star, 3-star, 5-star. All right, so these are reviews from letterbox.com, which is a website and an app where you can log, rate, and review films. You can follow Michelle and I on there. I'm at Seth Vargas, and Michelle is at Mitch Ruby, M-I-C-H Ruby. We start out with a half-star review, which is the lowest rating that you can give a film. We go all the way up to a 5-star rating, which is the highest rating that you can give a film. So the half-star review, do you have a request for an accent?
I mean, I feel like we just got to stick with a Muppet.
Oh, okay. I could
Like
try
this
Miss
is.
Piggy.
Oh, sure.
Miss Piggy's fun because it's Frank Oz who did Yoda too.
Yes,
And
yes,
so
yes.
you just everyone can do Yoda, so you just do Yoda and do it high pitched.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So let's do it.
I also want to mention, which I mention all the time, there are only 4 half-star reviews for High and Low on Letterboxd.
Wow. But I believe that. I mean, I don't know how you could rate this so low,
Yeah.
you know?
So
Well,
I did not have a large group of samples to choose from. So,
Okay.
all
I'll
right.
keep that in mind. Okay, here we
Half
go.
star review for High and Low from Miss Piggy.
That's good.
This movie makes me think, girl. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This movie makes me think of my sister's boyfriend. Girl, what the bleep do you see in him? Genuinely boring movie with an adequate score and a few good shots. It's been a long time since I watched a movie, and I wished I could get 2.5 hours of my life back.
Seth, that
Half
was
star.
so good.
Was it though?
Yes. Are you kidding? That was Miss Piggy coming on.
Okay.
Wow.
I didn't dip into her lower register when she goes she'll say something like get get to the point, frog.
And you're like, yeah. That was good.
Get to the point, Kurosawa.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow,
High and
Seth.
low. This should be called lawn and slow.
It's very funny.
All right.
It's very funny. This is it. This is the new British. You're going to do a Muppet every week.
I'm up
So
okay.
start practicing.
I am fine to leave the British behind. So
yeah, we're going to leave them behind. But okay, wow.
So yeah, this person wanted 2.5 hours of their life back.
Well,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
3-star review says, even once it picked up after an incredibly slow first hour, we get it. You don't want to lose your money. I had a hard time carrying or feeling sustained tension. I mostly wanted to find out who did it because I was bored rather than because the movie demanded my investment. That being said, there was some really cool blocking. I don't know. It wasn't for me. Sorry, friends. I was like, wow, this person's writing right to us.
Sorry, friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel some of that. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely feel some of that. Yeah.
5-star review says, one story gradually delivered through 3 different perspectives. The affluent victim in his high rise that overlooks the city, the criminal from the slums, and the middle class detectives stuck between them. Come for the gripping mystery stay for the socio-economic breakdown of post-war Japan. Kurosawa makes it look easy, but this is a layered masterstroke.
Wow. That's an interesting way to put it.
I pulled that review because I really liked how they brought in that the police are kind of between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And there's that one scene when the detectives are down in the town and they're looking up at the house and they're like, yeah, that is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Like it looks
Yeah.
like it's like looking down on us.
Yeah.
And so they're even able to feel it and express it. And they're working for that guy,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That was good. Well worded.
Yeah. All right. So Michelle has a rating system, which is a schmovie, a movie, and a film. We also rate the movie 1 through 5 stars and talk about recommendations. Michelle, you want to go first or you want me to go?
You can go.
Okay, I'll go first. I think that this is a film. When I first watched it, I rated this 4 stars, which our friend Jamila just tweeted today about how she'll have a movie in her head and she'll be like, oh, I love this movie. It's amazing. It's so great. And then she'll go back and look at the rating and it's like 3 stars. And that's how I felt when I went back and saw my review for High and Low. I was like, wow, 4 stars. I'm like really being pretty withholding. My review for it simply says, hey, don't be a rich guy.
Oh my God. Seth, when was that logged?
January 27th, 2022.
Okay. So, maybe 2 years ago we were just feeling different.
Maybe, but this has always
I,
stood out to me as like, amazing, incredible, deserving, all those things. So I was pretty surprised.
well,
I'm
clearly
definitely
not on that
bumping this
day.
up. I'm definitely bumping this up to 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
I think that it's great and it is fairly simple, but what it does really well. And I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen this, or if you know someone who hasn't seen this, or if you know someone who wants to get into Kurosawa and maybe they don't think that they would like a samurai film. High and Low, awesome, universal story, and that's also why I'm looking forward to Spike Lee's version. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A couple of weeks ago I was driving and I audioed you and I said, this is what the love child is when something's a movie and a film. And then I was like, this is dumb. I'm not going to bother Seth with this.
Oh
And I
no,
don't remember how I merged the two to one word.
a milm,
And I was like, it wasn't milm and it wasn't like
Foovie.
no, it like flowed so nicely, if you can believe it, because
Oh my
nothing flows
god, the
nicely out
lost
of my mouth.
word.
I know. And I was like, I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to bother Seth with this. And so, anyway, work in progress, work
Yeah.
in production. But that's how I feel that this is. This is somewhere between a movie and a film for me. I have 2 ratings.
Oh,
For
awesome.
Michelle,
Yeah.
I probably will never watch this again.
Yeah.
And it's probably like a 3.5.
Okay.
From putting my film cap on,
Yeah.
I'm rating this like 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like this is good. And I recognize it's good.
Yeah.
But for like enjoyment level,
Sure.
not for me. Well, if I'm gonna go tune in for a movie, like I couldn't believe it last night. I put on a movie just for me, and it was Priscilla. I was like,
Oh
this is
yeah.
so nice to just watch a movie and not have to view it with a critical eye, even though you can't help it.
Right.
You notice all the things, but I am glad I watched this, and I would recommend it to my film loving friends,
Got it.
not to all my friends,
Got it.
because I don't think it would be well received.
Yeah.
I just don't even think they would watch it.
Got it. All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How was Priscilla?
I have like 20 minutes left because I was falling asleep.
Got it. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it was no, but not because it was boring. It was because I was just tired. But
Hey,
good so
I
far.
fall asleep watching movies all the time. I get it.
Yeah.
So next week is Michelle's pick.
Yeah.
Do you have a pick?
Yes. I've been thinking about it all episode.
Okay.
I was like, let's see how this goes.
Down to the last minute.
Yeah, we're gonna do Who Framed Roger Rabbit
Oh, yeah.
from from 1988.
Okay.
Your favorite, Robert Zemeckis.
Yes.
We all know how you feel about him,
Yes.
but hopefully you feel differently about the movie. I have not watched this in a really long time, but this one is really special to me. I watched it as a kid with my dad all the time,
Hmm.
and I loved it. So it's probably been like 15 years since I've seen it.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So I'm really excited to watch it.
I'm excited to revisit it as well. I haven't seen
Yeah.
it. I've seen it since childhood, but
Yeah.
it's still been a while. And
Yeah.
yep, I talk about Zemeckis, but I think that Zemeckis has been like living off of Back to the Future and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So I would include this in the good period.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So I'm
We'll
pretty
take it.
excited. I don't know if you've seen any of the news about Warner Brothers deleting this movie that was coming out called Coyote versus Acme.
No.
Yeah, so film companies have been making movies and then deleting them to use them as a tax write-off.
Okay.
Because if you put something as a loss, right, that's for in your
Yes.
benefit.
Yes. 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 Yes.
And so in order to claim the movie that hasn't come out yet as a loss, they have to agree that no one will ever see it. They can't sell it to
Oh,
another company.
wow.
It can never be shown. And so they just delete it. They did it with Batgirl. They did it with another movie, I think. And now they're doing it with this movie, Coyote versus Acme, which is like a live action Looney Tunes crossover a la Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Mm.
So it'll be
Mm.
also interesting to kind of think
Yeah.
about it with that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah. I'm excited. It's streaming on Disney
cool.
Plus, if you have it. And it's 144 minutes. A cool 144.
104 minutes.
1 hour, 44 minutes. What? What did I say? It's an hour and 44 minutes.
No, you said the right thing. No, it's not. It's 104 minutes.
I'm looking at it right now. It says 1 hour, 44 minutes. Does
How
that,
much
is
is
that not what?
104
I don't
minutes?
know. 104 minutes
104
is,
minutes.
it says 1 hour,
Yeah,
44 minutes.
that is an hour and 44 minutes.
Isn't
Yeah,
that what I said?
you did. Your app says it in full minutes. My app says it in 104 minutes.
Oh, but it's the same thing.
Right,
I
because
just,
an hour is 60.
right.
Right.
Right. Yes. And
Yes,
then,
yes.
yeah.
It was
Okay.
my mistake. I was like, no, that's not.
Okay. Okay. Oh, man. I was like, am I seeing an extra 4? I think I'm dyslexic. So this all makes sense.
Hey, if this all makes sense to you, we'd love it if you'd subscribe to the show, give us a
Yep.
rating and a review.
Yep.
Really
In
helps the
case you
show
need a
out.
reminder, it is my birthday month.
It's
So,
Michelle's birthday month.
so
Absolutely.
the best gift, and it's free, would to leave us a rating and a review. 5 stars though. Don't say you hate it.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
You can also send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought about High and Low, what you thought about Kurosawa, Pink Smoke. What's going on there? You can also support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. You get access to all of our additional episodes, our patron-only Discord, and you help support a teeny tiny little independent podcast. We're just little
Yeah.
guys. We're helpless.
Tiny. We're in the pocket. Let's go back to
Exactly.
last year.
Exactly. Think of yourselves like the detectives, trying to help the kid just get on home. Not really, but you know.
Yeah, be a detective.
All right. Well, hey, we're back.
We're back, baby,
Doesn't it
for a
feel like every
while.
other month we're like, we're back?
I know. It's true though. But like for real this time, I think.
Yeah. You went a long stretch without watching a movie.
I know.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Must be nice.
Yeah. It did feel good. It did feel good.
Yeah, and it's going to feel good next week. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I know.
I'm
I'm
excited.
excited.
It's
Yeah.
definitely a good companion piece to this bleak.
Yeah. I feel like as two people who are doing this show, a
Yeah.
movie podcast,
Yeah.
you are high and low, and I am Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what you're getting. That's Seth's pick. He is a very educated film person. And then there's Michelle, who's here for the fun. Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, but I'm also a
That's us in a
weird,
nutshell.
zany,
I know you are. No,
silly
for
joke
sure you are.
guy.
You
So,
absolutely are. You absolutely are.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Seth.
Till next week when we're talking about Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Music by Anthony Vicora. If you like the show, please subscribe and give us a rating. It really helps us find new friends. Thanks!